Welcome to Season 3 of The Breakdown, the official podcast of the Breakaway Roping Journal and CapRoping.com. This season, we're diving into both the breakaway and cap roping like never before, bringing you the personalities, successes, and horses that make these events great.
You can expect training tips from the top ropers, stories from the road, and industry news that goes beyond the numbers.
I'm Taylor Vollen, your cap roping host.
And I'm Lillian Kent, your breakaway host.
And this is The Breakdown.
Hey everyone, this is Lillian back again with another breakaway edition of The Breakdown. Now this week we have a really special episode for you. None other than Martha Angelone comes on the Breakdown podcast to discuss her most recent 2 world championships at the Women's Rodeo World Championships. Plus we dive a little bit into her background and the road that brought her to being this world caliber breakaway roper that she is today. I thought this was a really fun episode. Lots of little nuggets in there that are great, whether you are a breakaway roper just starting out or a little bit more seasoned on the rodeo trail. And we have none other than Purina to thank for supporting this episode of The Breakdown. Martha is also sponsored by Purina, so we have a little discussion about her favorite Purina products. We just want to give a big shout out to that brand and their new Replenimash product. Thanks for supporting The Breakdown. Without further ado, let's dive into the chat with Martha. It's time to rope. Let's go. Good morning, Martha. How are you doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Great. I'm so excited to get to talk to you about the WRWC and beyond.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So obviously you picked up 2 more WRWC World Championships last week, which is something that you work hard for all year. You're nominating all year to make sure you have those points.
Yes, ma'am. I try to get ahead and all around, especially whenever I'm going into the finals because of how many points they give away there, because that's a nice bonus check at the end of the week at women's finals. So I always strive to have enough one going in. So even if I don't have the greatest finals, I can still win it.
Right. They paid $20,000 to win the all around this year.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's a lot. We were joking that you're so good at the WRWC game that it's your slush fund.
Yeah. I always take it as if I nominate enough and I do my job when I get there, it pays for the nominations and everything, just like the end of the year, the VRQ bonus, and just like kind of like the all around stuff. Like at the end of it, I spent a lot of money to make that money, but at the end of it, it was worth it. So
yeah, the format and the setup they have is so different and so fun compared to everybody else.
Yes, ma'am. It's definitely a process, but that whenever you get to the finals and just knock your calves or your steers down, it definitely is a fun way to go about it, especially when you get down to the showdown round and have to be in the top 3 for the big money.
Totally. Well, and then you came away with $25,000 at AT&T Stadium.
Yes, ma'am, I did. I ended up second.
Okay. Let's talk about WRWC week as a whole. I mean, you had some fast runs. I think you missed that first round calf, right?
Yes, ma'am, I did. My first run, whenever I was coming out of the box, Jesse James almost ate crap, honestly. He tripped on his own foot coming out of the box, and we almost fell down. Instead of me just going and catching my calf and doing my job, I tried to throw my rope, and I missed. But coming into the second round, I drew a calf that you probably didn't want. In the first round, he definitely didn't break the rope off for the girl and like trotted to the end of it. So I was going to try to stop my horse and throw my whole rope, and I ended up third in that round. And they take the top 2 out of each round to the semifinals, and Taylor Munsell actually won second in the first round too. So she was already pulled to the semifinals round. So they actually dropped me or pulled me up, and I got to go to the semifinals round, and I won the semifinals round. And when I ended up second in the showdown round, and then second in the Triple Crown round 2 at AT&T.
Well, pretty sweet. So you cleared 50,000 on the week then.
Yes, ma'am. It was a pretty decent week.
I would say so.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you at the WRWC the year they had it at AT&T? I believe it was either 2019 or 2020.
Yes, I was. I actually made it back in the heeling that year. I did not do my job once I got to AT&T, but I made it back in the heeling that year, and it was a cool experience to have it there. So it was kind of cool to go back and be with the PBR finals again and all that, because it's kind of a different venue, something we're not usually used to. But I like doing stuff like that, especially when there's the crowd that there was and all the fans and everything.
Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of a different demographic at the PBRs, but the vibes are right. Like it's fun.
Yes, ma'am. It's crazy. I was sitting there and they had so many bulls to buck before they started the women's part of it. And sitting there thinking about it, like when you're at the pro rodeos or the amateur rodeos, that usually takes forever. And in the PBR, they freaking would buck 20 bulls within 25 minutes. It was crazy how fast and professional they ran it.
And I loved on the Jumbotron, they had all the bulls buck off stats and stuff. I thought that was super neat.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't know about the bounty on that one bull that kid ended up winning 50,000 for just riding it, but that was cool to watch too. So
okay, I had heard some of that. I was so focused on you guys that I didn't catch all the details of the PBR.
yes, ma'am. They gave 50,000 to him, and then it was 50,000 to it was some kids research group. If I told you which one it is, I'd be wrong. But I thought that was cool that bull had a bounty on its head for that.
Yeah, that's great.
So.
We need some bounty calves in the breakaway.
Yeah, that would be so cool. That's what I looked at the girls and I was messing with them. I was like, do we have that for just catching our calf today?
Right? Well, we can get some little piebald, weird looking guy and he can be the bounty calf.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So obviously I know you were gunning for first. You're always gunning for first, but how cool is it that Amy came away with that 60 grand this past weekend?
That was awesome. I don't know personally if she's ever been on that biggest stage because I really don't know where all she's been, but I thought it was cool that the youngest one out of all of us walked away with it and everything. And she wasn't backing down, that's for sure. I mean, I thought I had it won whenever I was 1.9. That was one of the fastest runs all week. And then she was 1.7 and won the Triple Crown round and had the fastest run of the whole week. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely didn't back down. I just got done talking to her and she was saying how she thought you had it in the bag, but she was just going to go do her job anyway. And I'm like, dang, like she was saying that you had it in the bag to herself as she backed in the box, but she still pulled it out.
Yes, ma'am. She made a really, really good run. That was awesome for her.
This podcast today is brought to you by Purina, and Miss Martha Angelone is also supported by Purina. So we thought nothing better to hear straight from Martha what her favorite products are from Purina feeds.
My favorite Purina products are the Ultium Competition. I have tried a lot of the Purina feeds for the past 4 years, actually. And I've started out using the Strategy Healthy Edge and the Purina Impact. And I liked both of those feeds a lot, but I started trying the Ultium Competition, and there's nothing else that compares to how it has made my horses look and work. I had to kind of find a feed that I liked with all my horses, and they got a wide age gap. I have some that are 4 or 5-year-olds, and then I have some that are 15 to 25-year-olds that are at our place. And there's some of the feeds that make your horse just a little bit hot and was a little bit too much for my horses, especially the younger horses. But I feel like the Ultium Competition has been the best match for my pro rodeo horses to my amateur horses to our colts around the house too. I feel like that's what makes them look and perform their best. That's probably my favorite product that I use.
Awesome. Well, you can check out Purina's line of products at your local feed retailer. And don't forget to check out Purina's Replenimash hydration product that is available in stores now. It's going to be perfect for the summer. It's going to be a hot one down here in Texas. So go ahead and check that out. Let's shift gears a little bit. Let's head back. Obviously wanted to talk to you today because no better time than following the WRWC, but we hadn't gotten to have the Martha Angelone story on the Breakdown podcast yet. And it's something that needs to be told. It's something that's, I think, really inspiring to up and coming breakaway ropers.
Yes, ma'am. Whenever I guess it's actually 11 years now. I feel old. It was just my birthday the other day. But 11 years ago, I came out here and started going to school. And I actually went to school in Oklahoma. Went to Altus, Oklahoma, which is Western Oklahoma State College, for a year. And then I went to Northwestern Oklahoma State University for 2 years, which is in Alva. And then I came back and finished my school at Weatherford College in Weatherford, Texas. And whenever I came to college, I had a Dodge 1500 pickup and a bumper pull trailer. And I didn't have any really great horses. I just had horses that you could use, basically, is the best way to put it. I had to work 3 jobs whenever I got to school. I college rodeoed. I had to do all my schoolwork and try to keep up with all my classes and everything. And it was really hard. And when I first came out here, like, I feel like I rode pretty decent and I could keep up with the girls on just a normal jackpot when you just had to run and catch them. But when it came to like the rodeos and stuff, I got my butt kicked for a while, especially when I moved down to Texas. Not as much in Oklahoma, but when I moved down to Texas and started to go to the amateur rodeos and all that kind of stuff, I definitely got my butt kicked in by everybody for a hot minute. And I had to tell myself to keep pushing forwards and everything, because there was a lot of times that I was so broke and I knew I didn't have a horse and I wasn't mounted and I just wanted to give up. And I kept telling myself, there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. You just got to keep pushing for it. And I'm glad I didn't stop, because that's why I'm where I'm at today.
It would have been really easy to give up too, especially working as many jobs as you were working, rolling up to the rodeo in what some would consider not as good of a rig with horses that you weren't confident on, and then getting beat.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a tall order.
That was a hard process. And like I said on a deal I did the other day, like, what I got sent off to college in is not realistic nowadays. A lot of kids would look at their parents and be like, are you kidding me right now? But that's just how this generation is. And it was something that, honestly, now that I have the truck and the trailer that I want, and I've always wanted and stuff, it makes it a lot more worth it. And just like, I'm still paying off my trailer and stuff, but just like my money from my winnings at the women's finals, that's what that went to, was to keep trying to pay my trailer off. So that's another reason why, like, the women's finals and the WCRA events and the bigger pro rodeos and everything mean a lot to me too, because I take those, and when I go into those, I think about it actually as, hey, I can pay more of my trailer off right here. Or like last year, whenever I won the team roping and the all around, I paid my truck off, so I didn't have a truck payment anymore. And I guess that a lot of kids probably don't think that way. And I guess I don't know if you can call me a kid anymore or not, because I'm 29. But a lot of kids, whenever they win that much money, they're like, oh, how can I spend it right now? And me, I'm more of, how can I pay something off so I can help myself whenever I'm not this fortunate enough to have that money and I'm struggling to make ends meet and everything, especially when you're gone rodeoing all summer. And I think that's one thing that's helped me get to where I'm at today too, not only in just life, but in my roping and stuff, because I feel like that's the way I think about my roping too.
I absolutely love this mindset. I could go on a huge tangent about financial security in the rodeo industry, and I don't pretend to be in the thick of it like you guys are, but
yes, ma'am.
I understand what it's like to roll up to a horse show in a rig that is older than me, and there's something to it. There's something to coming from that and then going to that rig that you're really proud of and you worked your tail off for.
Yes, ma'am. It made it a lot sweeter in the end, because I knew I had to work for it and it wasn't just given to me straight out of high school. So,
besides the prices, the prices these days are rough.
I know it would probably be a lot better if it was 11 years ago, but I guess I have to settle for it now. But the prices definitely are a lot higher now than they used to be. That's for sure.
Yep. It's all about just wheeling and dealing, getting done what
Yes,
you can get
ma'am.
done. Okay.
Yes,
Come
ma'am.
down to Texas. How long was it till you saw that light at the end of the tunnel that you're talking about?
Oh, man, I want to say that. Let's go back. I guess whenever I first moved down here, I had a horse named Vegas. Um, and she was good for a while, but then she ended up getting crippled. And whenever she got crippled, I feel like I was just getting to where I wasn't getting my butt kicked as much. And then she got crippled, and I didn't have to do anything, or I didn't have a horse. I had to mount out for a while. I feel like probably that year of 2000, maybe 18, it was a struggle for me. And then 2019, or maybe 2017 was a struggle. 2018, I got to ride one of Leighton Berry and Macy Berry's horses called Saint. It was one of Leighton's horses that Macy always rode. And she knew I needed a horse, and she let me ride him. And that's kind of the year that I started stepping up in like the UPRAs and all the amateur associations down here. I had a really good year and for those in that. And then like 2019, kind of same thing. But whenever it really started for me was in 2020. I actually trained the horse that I won the finals on the first year. His name was Simba, and I got him probably December of 2019, and the first week in January in 2020 was when the WCRA finals was in Guthrie. That first week, I ended up taking him in there, and he was so green. He was so scared he wouldn't even walk straight into the box. I had to back him in the box, and I swear probably people were making fun of me, but I did really, really good on him up there, especially for it being the first place he's ever been to. And we made it all the way through to the last day. And I think that was the one that went to Green Bay. And I actually broke the barrier on my last one in the showdown round. I guess it would be now to go to Green Bay. And I was really proud of him. And then 3 weeks later was whenever the Breakaway got added to Fort Worth the first year. And I won third on him there. And I ended up buying him after that. And that's kind of whenever my roping started peaking, is whenever I got with that horse and everything. And after the finals the first year, I had him, and then I had another little horse named Chick that I actually still ride today. I was training her back then and stuff, and I thought back then I was mounted, and I knew I had decent horses, but I knew I didn't have the best horses. And then in 2022 at the women's finals, I actually had a horse in from Tanner Green that I was selling for him, and I rode him, and his name's Jesse James. And I won the women's finals on him that week, and I won a bunch of Corpus on him the week before, and I won a bunch at the ProRodeos that week on him as well. And I ended up calling Tanner after I won the women's finals on him and said, I want to buy him. And I think that's when my career truly changed, because that was the first horse I've ever had that you could say was a pro caliber horse. And I've won so much on that horse that I can't even thank him for what he's done for my life and how he's changed my life. And probably 2 months after that, a month after that's when I started riding Legend. And then 2 months, 2.5 months after that is when I started paying Legend off and everything. And he became my horse too after the finals that year. And those two horses are the reason that I won the world in 2022. And they're still the reasons today that I have so much continued success in the breakaway world, not only at the pro rodeos, but even at all the other rodeos I go to as well.
I love it. Where did Legend come from?
Legend came from Tanner as well. There was Tanner's good tie down horse for years probably and everything. And he would drag off a little bit in the tie down, and Tanner would get frustrated with him. I promise you, if he didn't drag off in the tie down, I'd probably would have never got to swing a leg over him. He was just one of those one-of-a-kind horses and stuff, but he got to where he was dragging off just a little bit too much, and Tanner told me to ride him one day at the house and practice off of him, and I started taking him, and he finally just told me one day that he'd sell him to me, and I took that offer. So
that's great. I was looking at Jesse's papers, and I saw that he was a gonna trash ya. I don't recall what Legend is off the top of my head right now, but what's your experience been with the more rein and bred breakaway horses?
Legend is spots hot too, so he's kind of on the cutting side of that, and they both have two different styles because of how they're bred. Like Jesse has that style that he likes to run up in there and drag his butt and kind of have his head in there a little bit. And sometimes, like when you're practice on him, it feels like he is running off, but it's just that horse's style because of how he is a reiner, because he'll put his head down, and whenever you go rope and pull on him, that's when he'll pick it up. But he kind of has that style, where Legend kind of has the style where he runs in there and he'll drop his front end too. And I think that's more from being a cutter and stuff, because he'll finish really hard, which if you not rope on him, he stops on his butt a lot. But he likes to break it off faster. He started doing it in the breakaway when I started breakaway roping on him and stuff. He'll drop his front end just a little bit and really get down low, which looks really cool, but really bad in some pictures. And people will say what they want about all of that, but I think it breaks my rope off faster. I just got to hang on sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes
ma'am.
he'll stick all 4 feet in the ground, but he like kind of slides on all 4 feet.
Yes, ma'am. It's definitely different. If you haven't rode it before and try it on, it's definitely a way different feel.
Yeah, try not to go over the front sometimes.
Yes, I have been there.
Okay. And we talked a little bit about this after you won the world there at WRWC last week, but what were you thinking in 2022 when you realized, holy cow, I'm getting some momentum behind me? I had Simba, now I have the opportunity with Jesse James. How did the WRWC really play into that?
It really helped shoot my confidence up before that summer. And like I said, it helped me mostly because it helped me get mounted and everything. Like I blessed finals that year, and I was mounted on the right horse for that finals. And I was blessed to win it, and it set me up and set my momentum up going into the summer. And I kind of ran off with it because I had a great start of that summer too. I won Reno that year. I won the Colorado Springs NFR Open that year. I placed at Cheyenne a bunch that year. I don't remember what I ended up, but I just had a really good summer going, especially in the beginning of that year. And I feel like everything was going right that year. And then that's when I thought I actually lost Legend, was in August that year, is whenever he actually colicked and had that stone in him. And I panicked for the worst because he was my baby boy, and I was afraid I just lost the best horse I've ever owned. And I realized then how much more I had more confidence in Jesse than after the fact, because I got so used to riding Legend, that I almost doubted myself a little bit on Jesse too. But then whenever Legend went down and Jesse what I had to ride, it honestly reminded me how much of a winner he is too, and that it wasn't just Legend that was doing it for me, it was him too.
I didn't know that Legend had that colic scare.
Oh, yeah. I was supposed to be able to get him back before the finals in 2022, but he ended up not being ready till around San Antonio in 2023. So I rode Jesse at the finals in 2022.
Okay. Would you say that Jesse or Legend would have been more suited to the NFBR setup there in South Point?
Honestly, that year, I won a bunch on Jesse. I mean, he did not do anything wrong whatsoever. And like this year, I started out on Legend because I was really focused on trying to win the average and stuff. And the first day was amazing. Like I rode awesome. I roped 5 out of 5 calves, and I'm pretty sure I placed in 2 go rounds, but I just wasn't clocking the runs that I wanted to, because Legend's more of like my average horse and not your go fast horse. Believe it or not, I've only been one on Legend. I've only been one on Legend once. I was one on him at Fort Worth this year. I was 1-9 on him. But other than that, I haven't been. Jesse's kind of my go fast horse. So at the finals in the 6th round this year, I actually missed. And I got on Jesse after that. And I said, I'm going to go try to win all the go rounds I can. And I'm pretty sure I placed in 3 of the 4 go rounds that were left that day on Jesse.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
I love hearing the context behind people's horse choices. You know, this one's good for this setup, and just how all that plays into everything.
yeah, I feel like honestly this year I probably should have rode Jesse more at the winter rodeos, other than Houston. It's definitely a Legend rodeo, but I rode Legend this year because I had him this year, and I feel like I was making very good, consistent runs there. But in those buildings, a lot of times you can throw it straight up in the air and it goes on the calf, and people are 1-5, 1-6. Like it's just hard to beat them when you're just going and making correct runs. And I feel like I kind of got myself this year because I was riding my best horse that honestly I realize is more of like my summertime horse, where Jesse should be more of like my wintertime horse. So I think going into next year, I'll probably try that strategy out more, ride either Jesse or my mare Chick.
Yeah. It just goes to show you how even when you've won the world, you don't have it all figured out.
Yeah, it just like you always want to be on your best horse, and I always feel like my best horse is Legend, but then I got to remember for the short setups, maybe it isn't Legend all the time, and I hate admitting that, but it's just gotten so fast now. Like I was 2-1 and 2-2 and won 3rd in one round, and I won or split 4th in another round at San Antonio. And usually, like the year I won San Antonio, I was 1-9 once. I was 2-1. I was 2-1, 2-5, and 2-2, and won San Antonio that year. And this year, I feel like I made better runs than I did that year, and I got maybe 1/8 of the money I did the year I won it. So it's crazy how much faster it's gotten too.
I know. I feel like a broken record all the time talking about how Breakaway is just on this upwards trajectory.
Yes, ma'am. It's crazy. It's good for the sport, but it makes it hard when you're a roper and you're making good runs and they're just not placing everywhere. So
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the summer coming up. I mean, it's staring us in the face. What are some of your beginning strategies for the summer run this year?
I'm gonna try, which we get our callbacks today. I'm really hoping I get the end at Reno, because I'm gonna try not to go out till then. I'm going by myself this summer, which is gonna be harder, but I did it the year that I won the world too. So I'm gonna try to focus on more of the bigger rodeos and not going to everything, since we don't have to this year. And I'm gonna try to make it to where I have enough rodeos at the end, and to be able to come back and go to my circuit rodeos and hopefully get into the governor's cups and stuff like that. But I'm going to try to go to the bigger ones every week and focus on them. But I want it to be at the beginning of the summer, where I start out at like Reno and Pecos and Greeley, and then the 4th of July, and then worry about Calgary and Colorado Springs. And then it's that big week of like Salt Lake and Spanish Fork and Cheyenne, and everything starts. So I'm going to try to focus and set it up to where I'm not just trying to kill myself, but I'm still trying to get to every rodeo that I need to be in as well.
Kind of sounds like Jackie's strategy a little bit. She's wanting to go quality over quantity, which I don't think breakaway ropers have really ever been able to do.
No, we haven't, because the thing is somebody could out rodeo you. Like you could go to 50 rodeos and still make the final, because I'm pretty sure that's what Joey Williams made it with last year. But the problem is it's hard to out rodeo somebody that will go to 120 of them, which I'm all for it. I'm all for going to all of them. It's just hard to do it while you're by yourself. If I had another person with me, I'd be like, oh yeah, let's go and everything. But I kind of have learned that it's just better if I go by myself and focus more on my roping and not worry about everybody else and everybody else's needs and everything like that. And I'm going to try that strategy out this year. And I know I'm going to be a lot more tired and stuff, but I feel like in the end, it'll help my roping a lot too.
You're going to go lone wolf on us.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to try it again.
Let's see. You're sitting, last time I looked, you were 15th. Is that freaking you out at all?
This is the most I've been going into the summer in a long time. But it doesn't freak me out because there's so much money to be won in the summer and everything. It's a little bit different for me because usually I'm sitting in the top 5 right now and everything. And like I said, I've had a good winter, but it hasn't been the winter I've wanted to. And I feel like that's why I'm at where I'm at right now. And that's why next year I'm going to try to go at a little bit different strategy at the winter rodeos as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, the breakaway roping, there's not a massive spread in the money, so you can definitely make up ground.
Yes, ma'am, that's for sure. And a lot of the rodeos actually are getting to where they're equal money for us this year and stuff. Because I got into Colorado Springs, that's such a game changer. Like the year that I won it 2 years ago, I won almost 30,000 there, and that's off of one rodeo. So if I focus on going there and doing my job this year, I have full confidence that where I'm at right now won't be a problem at the end of the year, hopefully.
I love it. I do want to take a step back and kind of, give Martha's advice to somebody who wants to be where you're at. Say you're, 12-year-old, 15-year-old, and you want to be Martha Angelone one day. What's something you would tell those girls that are aiming to do that?
Just to never give up, because just like I was saying earlier on in this deal, like how I always say there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and if I wouldn't have kept looking for it, I wouldn't have be where I'm at today. Like I would probably still be bartending and working 2 jobs and working at the sale barn on Saturday just to be getting by and paying my rent and stuff. And don't ever be afraid to take chances, because I've taken a lot of chances that I thought were very risky in life, and they've all led to reasons why I'm where I'm at today as well. So my thing is if you're getting your butt kicked and you're just upset, go through all those emotions and trials and errors and all that kind of stuff, because you have to go through them to be able to go through all the stepping stones to get to where you want to be one day. It just sucks whenever you're at it. You just got to keep climbing the mountain. So
I love it. Awesome. Well, I think that about wraps it up for me. I don't think we could end on anything better than that.
okay, perfect.
Thank you so much for your time today, Martha. I really appreciate it. And we'll be looking for your name and those PRCA results headed forwards.
Thank you guys for having me today. I enjoyed it.
Wow. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't already listened to this audio a few times during the process of making this podcast. And I'll probably listen to it again when it comes out, because I just loved that interview with Martha. I found it really interesting and inspiring to hear about, the job she did, how she came to get her 2 nice horses. And then again, just the whole rig thing and upgrading and growing into this ProRodeo, WPRA World Champion that she is today. Super exciting. I love talking with her, and looking forward to seeing her out on the ProRodeo road this summer. Special thanks again to Purina for supporting this week's podcast, and we will see you next time on The Breakdown.